Good afternoon, everyone. This is Louise Lovewell with Maggie Hanson, with Katie Lovewell, and it's another beautiful rainy day. We love the rain, right? As long as we don't flood away or float away or something like that. So we are going to talk about today, we're going to talk about first how some of the individual cities are doing. So Maggie can take it away.
Yeah, so I think today we'll do something just slightly different than normal, focusing on kind of longer term market trends. So normally when we go over these numbers, we are looking at month-to-month changes, which of course is really helpful. However, there's always going to be troughs and peaks in the housing market in the short term, just like in the stock market, right? So as a homeowner, what we really want to be looking at are those longer term trends. So Katie's cursor right there is showing what we're looking at here. In terms of the median sale price of homes in these cities we're going to be looking at today, if you compare December of 2022, so this last December that we had, this last month, the median sale price compared to the year prior, December 2021, it is true that that number is lower. So in December 2021, housing values were a little bit higher. And that's, of course, because of, the spikes in interest rates that we've seen. The market changed in May of last year, and how the stock market is performing. All those things have contributed to that. However, what we want you to see today is if you look at that December 2020 number down there, you can see that we are higher in value in terms of median sale prices than we were in December 2020. So that's really important to keep sight of as a homeowner, or if you're going to buy. Because if we focus too much on what's happening in the short term, it can look like, everything's plummeting. But in reality, if you've owned your home for even 2 years, so 2 years or more, the value of your house has gone up, and that's a really good thing. So we want to focus on those longer term trends when we're looking at these numbers, so that we can really get a gauge of what's happening in this slow season right now, because we are in a slow season, compared to the slow season of the year prior and the year before that, because that's going to give you really an indication of, are houses maintaining their value and are they growing? So we're going to see kind of a pattern in all of these cities that we look at today, except for 3, which we'll talk about, the exceptions to this rule. But for the most part, in all these cities, that value is going to be higher in December 2022 than it was in December 2020. So that's really good news for homeowners, anyone looking to sell. Just remember that even though in the short term we're seeing these dips, really in the long term, as long as you've owned that house for 2 years or more, your value is actually higher than it was 2 years ago. So that's important to look at. So Katie can go through those, and then we'll talk about the 3 exceptions. Those exceptions today are going to be Berkeley, Oakland, and Castro Valley. And we can talk about that when we get to those houses.
Okay, so moving on to Livermore, we'll continue to keep the focus on the market trends of year over year. And so just similar to Pleasanton, Livermore, the 2022 median sales price is lower than 2021, but still higher than 2020. Fremont is similar. Again, the median sales price in 2020 was $1,272. In December 2021, it was $1,055,000. And now this year, lower than last year, but still higher than 2020, is $1,415,000. Hayward, also following the trend, again, lower this year than last year, but still higher than 2020. San Leandro, again, following very nicely, higher than 2020, but lower than 2021. Again, looking at here in the middle section, the median sales price. Castro Valley, as Margaret said, with an exception, it was $1,090,000 in 2020, up to almost $100,000 over that in 2021 at $1,195,000, and then it dropped below even 2020 at $1,018,000. Alameda is an exception the other way. It's actually still going up. So it just People love Alameda. It's a very cute little town, and the median sales price is higher this year over last year. So, and which is higher than 2020. So it continues to go up. So Alameda sellers don't have as much concern perhaps, but again, as Margaret said, long term, you're doing very well as a seller. Oakland, also like Castro Valley, below the median sales price is below the 2020 median sales price. Not by much, but it is below.
And you can see, Katie, if we look at that drop from November to December on the graph on the median sale price there, that is kind of probably what is accounting for that number too. I mean, Oakland was in a way kind of shielded from, you know, what was happening with interest rates and everything for a while. And then we see this big drop from November to December of last year. And that might be what's kind of making it to the exception of our rule today as well.
And one more thing, I think this one is kind of showing the higher price properties, because the lower price properties, there's a lot. I think it'll show on the thing that are between the, let's say below 600. And so they have not had the big drop that the higher price homes have done.
Yeah, I'm just trying to look down at the bottom here. It also, these stats, there's all kinds of interesting information, and anyone can go onto this website, bayeast.org, and you go into community housing and pull up a city, but you can also just look at inventory year over year, and what is the breakdown at the different price levels. And you know, because prices continue to go up, you see like the below $500,000 range continues to get smaller and smaller, but overall it is yeah, interesting to see where the overall homes are selling, like what is the biggest section and how it moves. Although it in generally seems like it's been in the $1 million to $1.3 million range, seems to be the highest. Although in 2020, the highest range went up to, I guess actually with both 2022 and 2021 was the $1.3 million to $1.7 million range. So anyway, okay, so lots of interesting things on these market statistics. And then lastly, Berkeley, again, following with Oakland and Castro Valley, has a lower median sales price for 2022 compared to 2020 and 2021. And also it could be similar in some ways, Alameda too, with also like, it hasn't had some of the same effect, I think, as some of the other cities where once those interest rates hit in April, really had a big downturn. I think some of them have been slower to have that effect. And so, you know, the downturn didn't happen until later in the year, and that's why it pushed down the end of the year number. So I think, Margaret or Louise, do you have any more to add about these interesting stats?
I mean, I think the takeaway of kind of what we're looking at today with those longer term market trends for me in terms of the cities that we've isolated here is that from a seller's perspective, even though what we're hearing in the media, what we're focusing on right now are these shorter term dips that we're seeing, you can tell, and the numbers don't lie, that actually, if we're looking even 2 years ago, the value of homes in your cities have maintained their value and gone up. That's kind of the pattern that we've seen, except for Berkeley, Oakland, and Castro Valley. And this is a message for buyers. In those cities, it seems, if we look at those numbers, that the housing values haven't actually maintained themselves quite as well through these most recent troughs than these other cities have. So for buyers, what I would tell you is, look at those cities. If you've wanted to live in Berkeley, Castro Valley, or Oakland, now is actually a really good time to buy, because if we're looking at median sale prices of homes, they're actually lower right now than 2 years ago, which is unusual in the Bay Area. In general, we expect over time for those values to go up. So I'd say that as a seller, it's probably better than you think it is, especially in most of these cities where this pattern holds true. And if you're a buyer, look in those areas where they are maybe feeling the effects a little bit more. So you can, like Katie said, you can look at these community resources. These are completely free to look at. And you can see city by city, how are the values of houses maintained, and are they growing or are they shrinking? So it's an opportunity as a buyer, I think, in Berkeley, Oakland, and Castro Valley right now.
So yeah, so buyers, get out there, go look. As we said before, you date the interest rate, you marry the house, because the wonderful thing is you can refinance if rates do go down eventually. You can't lower your house price. So buy when the prices are down relatively, at least compared to last year. And you'll be in
And one more
good
thing?
shape. Mhm.
Don't forget, buyers, go look at those condos and townhouses. Last weekend, there was a townhouse in San Leandro, had 8 offers. So I would say if you're looking price point conscious, condos and townhouses in the areas that you like, they're there, and don't forget them. So that's my
Although
thought.
it sounds like there's some competition in San Leandro, so just
Yeah.
FYI. Okay, I think that's it. Unless anyone else, anything else to add?
So it's like happy middle of January, hard to believe. Enjoy the rain. Hopefully nobody gets flooded or their basements or whatever. So that's it. So everybody have a good week.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
everyone.
Bye.